For thousands of years in East Asia, emperors and physicians have been concerned and obsessed with trying to figure out how to live a long life. In fact, there were famous emperors that actually sent thousands of their loyal subjects, including great doctor alchemists, to go seek out the longevity secrets, and many of them never returned. But in the meantime, they had discovered some key habits and some key principles that you can use to improve your life and also live a longer and healthier life. Hey guys, I'm Dr. Alex Heyne, board licensed doctor of acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine, and author of the health book Master the Day. So let's jump in. The first life-changing habit is understanding what yin and yang look like in your body and in your life. In traditional Chinese medicine, it is both a metaphorical concept, like day and night, and also a clinical concept, like work and rest. If you could understand what yin and yang look like in your life, all of the ancient doctors that invented this medicine have told us that is the fundamental root of health or of disease. If you can understand that balance inside of your own body, that will prevent you from getting sick and certainly prevent you from getting seriously ill. So for example, let's say you are the classic overworked mom. You're a dedicated professional, you have your busy marketing job and you want to do the best you can because it's your career and you take pride in it. And you have a lot of, responsibilities and stress as a mother, as a wife, but then you're also the career woman. And so trying to juggle all of these things inevitably results in a lot of upward and outward momentum. This is the energy of pushing. So when you're pushing, this causes changes in your physiology, what we call your qi dynamic, that can potentially lead to illness. Now, in the short run, the pushing can just be a short fuse. You scream at your kid when they knock over this Honey Nut Cheerios. Or it can be you show up to your marketing job, you put on that face because you want to deliver and you don't want to cause drama, but then you get in your car and you cry. That is a manifestation of this upward ascending qi in the system. If you can understand all of this is a lot of pushing energy, and eventually pushing energy has to reach some kind of wall, some immovable object. Usually the immovable object is your physical body that will pay the price. But in general, if you can understand where am I on the spectrum of up, 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 activation energy, or down, 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 kind of a sinking energy, and then modifying your kind of exercise for where that is, your kind of work, how much you work, your commitments, what you say yes to, you will prevent yourself from getting sick much more often. The second life-changing habit is applying what I call channel theory within your body. When we talk about traditional Chinese medicine, it all comes back to the acupuncture channels. Understanding that the channel system is where yin and yang manifest. Issues often present in what Chinese medicine calls the channels before it manifests in the physical organs, like let's say your stomach. Then you have another clue as to how to prevent disease. So for example, we call issues in the channels or in the meridians excess or deficiency. A kind of excess would be like, for example, you take your stomach and let's say you're having a lot of acid reflux. Chinese medicine often calls that stomach heat. And it's often from either chronically overeating, chronic stress, high warming amount of foods diet, excess coffee, alcohol, fried food, greasy food, oily food, just too heavy food overall. Now that's something that we call excess in the channel or excess in the organ. But you can also have something that's called like deficiency, which would be like kidney deficiency. And an example would be like a middle-aged man who has an enlarged prostate and is urinating all the time and waking up in the middle of the night. If it's deficiency, it means you need to work on things to actually strengthen the organ function. Now, the easiest way from my point of view is just see a licensed practitioner of this because they can do it better than you can. Let's say stomach excess is the problem. How do you regulate that excess of the organ before it becomes a disease or an illness? That can help you learn, okay, I need to focus on more of like a temperature neutral diet, more of like a Mediterranean diet. Maybe coffee just isn't my friend, even though I didn't think it was causing me problems. It is. Learning what yin and yang, how they manifest in the body is very, very important on just a day-to-day clinical level, because all illness comes back to that fundamentally. Now, we've discussed 2 out of many of the kinds of healing principles in traditional Chinese medicine. But if you guys haven't seen, the first link below this video is for a free root cause quiz and a 7-day email series called The Forgotten Science of Healing. This email series is just principles from traditional Chinese medicine, other habits and principles here that we haven't discussed that will help you understand how to apply these healing rituals in your day-to-day life. So it includes this amazing 10-page free root cause quiz we've put together, which also links to a lot of our best videos on individual pathologies, like individual symptoms and individual organs, and how you can potentially fix those. So check it out. It's the first link below this video. You can also just go to dralexheyne.com/quiz. The third life-changing habit is, from my point of view, drink pu'er tea instead of Black coffee. Look, for a lot of us, if you have an upper GI issue and you have any degree of anxiety, feeling on edge, or not sleeping well, in my opinion, you shouldn't touch coffee. Well, a close second is something called pu'er tea. Now, pu'er, if you can see here, it's a lot like wine in the sense that it is a pressed and fermented tea cake. And as a result of this, it develops lots of good beneficial bacteria that are great for your gut. So if you've ever thought about taking probiotics or prebiotics, pu'er tea is one of the best that incorporates the ritual of drinking a warm beverage, but also has lots of gut benefits as well for your microbes. And the dark pu'ers can be pretty close to coffee sometimes. Now, the fourth ritual is adjusting your life to the seasons. This is damn near impossible for modern people. And the reason being that, I live in Los Angeles. It's an eternal spring and summer. And when you don't visibly see the passage of time very much, it's hard to adjust your life to the seasons. And if you live in a literal fluorescent light office 7 days a week or 5 days a week, every day of the year pretty much, besides your 10-day vacation, it is also difficult to see why you should adjust your life based on the seasons. A lot of what I see in modern people is this chronic overactivation of the nervous system. We live in this state of fight or flight and just sympathetic dominance. I mean, take a perfect example right here. I'm putting out these YouTube videos every single week. We put out short form videos every single day. I see patients every single week, and that routine doesn't change if I'm sick or well. It doesn't change if I'm tired or rested. So I'm pretty much existing in an eternal spring of just push. Only you know inside your body if this pushing energy is something that will last, or if it is something you feel you cannot do for the rest of your life. But this is why adjusting life based on the seasons, or even just having a seasonal approach to your life, a seasonal approach to your goals, is something that's really, really important. So for example, ancient doctors talked a lot about how the winter sort of quality, they called it a qi. The winter quality is sort of hibernation. I grew up in New England where in the winter, the first thing you notice is you don't hear any bird songs. It's just quiet in the woods in New England. And you wonder, what are all these animals doing? Where are all the birds? They are emulating the kind of quality of nature, which is hibernation. Winter is downward, inward storage. It's like the ultimate adrenal reset kind of lifestyle. But in springtime, the quality of animals mirrors the quality of nature. And humans feel that too. If you live in a temperate climate, that first warm, sunny day, people just open their windows, they drive with their car windows down, they're blasting music, they're just like, the energy in the room changes. And this is what those ancient doctors were commenting on. What is that energy that you feel that changes within you? You want to go outside, you're feeling more upbeat, maybe you want to play soccer with the kids outside or work in the garden. Emulating that quality is very, very good for your health. And in particular, there's two main things to focus on. One is just the general aspects of spring and summer energy versus winter, which is really work and push, and then dialing things back. That's really important because that prevents you from being in a perpetual state of just burnout. Now, the fifth piece of advice is just remember this monk's advice that they gave me. When I was staying at a temple, a monastery in Chengdu, it was actually a Taoist temple, and there was a lead female abbess there. One day I was asking her what I thought the key to a long life was, and she said something very interesting, which of course came back to yin and yang when she said, a calm mind and an active body. And modern people, it's the exact opposite. We are seated at a desk all day long, so we have all this nervous system agitation building up, this tension, because we aren't moving. We're working, but it's intellectual labor, physical manual labor, where physical laborers are tired at the end of the day. They don't have problems sleeping. But desk workers who ironically don't move at all often have problems sleeping. This physical movement with simultaneously lack of mental movement, she described as sort of the power couple for longevity, meaning the mental calms down, but the physical needs lots of physical movement to keep the joints, the bones, the circulation, the heart healthy. So if you can emulate these two things, it will often be the power couple for a long life. Now, don't forget guys, I do work with a limited number of new patients every single month in my clinic in Los Angeles or virtually via telemedicine. So if you want to reach out, just go to dralexheyne.com/clinic. There's also information to call or email my practice right below this video. And on top of that, don't forget, we've put together this really great 7-day email series, The Forgotten Science of Healing. And there's also a free root cause quiz there you'll get as well. Just a great 10-page little PDF you can go through to look at your symptoms according to traditional Chinese medicine and sort of see, from our point of view, what is really the root cause and the root organ or physiological dysfunction that is causing your issues. That's also the link right below this video. You can also just go to dralexheyne.com/quiz. And then before you go, I have one other great longevity and life habit from traditional Chinese medicine you should check out right there.